Hello, friends. Welcome to Behind the Designs, where I create a beautiful life through creative planning. I'm Stephanie, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different with how I plan to choose or work out my 2025 planner lineup. So stay tuned for more. All right, so I am working with a new microphone, so I am hoping everything is working out great and I'm not losing any of my audio, because that would be bad if I finished this video and I lost all my audio. So be aware of that, there may be a slight change in the sound, but hopefully it's coming through. So I am going to be setting up, it's much overdue, a I'm going to show you what I do when I brainstorm, or I should say when I brainstormed for 2025. I have done different things in the past. I just, will do what tends to work or feel the best at that time. And, as you know, I have been in my Jane's Agenda mini disc setup, and I am loving it. So you can probably guess what's staying around for 2025. But I do have other areas that I want to incorporate, whether it be, happy planner or bullet journals or, traveler's notebooks. I do like a variety of planner styles. So we're going to jump into that when we go over this. Now, I have these two out here because, as you know, this is my mini, which has done an amazing job in keeping me organized for, kind of the tail end or the fourth quarter of 2024. So that I'm going to come back to shortly. But right now, what I'm going to go through is this. So this is a saddle stitched notebook holder. So traveler's notebook. It has the, elastic to it, from Jane's Agenda. I had this idea of creating, I do have a traveler's notebook that is a reference or collections type setup. And I saw this, it gave me a little more space. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. So I have gone through and I've started to set this up. And then we're going to talk about what I'm going to get into for 2025. So this is their traveler's notebook cover. There are two styles. There's this tan one, and then also a like a darker brown, like more of like a chocolate color, I think. And it's just a simple setup. Actually, let me pull this out. That had some information that I was using to kind of get me going on getting this set up. So I do have some other information in there that I kind of want to keep separate. All right, so this little guy is probably going to be sitting near my desk for going through the year. You'll see in the last book I'm talking about. Right now I have 3 books in here. And, in the past, one of my planner assessments was going through, some of the tough questions. And I think it worked, but I feel like I could do just a little bit better. So I got this idea to create sort of a reference or collection style traveler's notebook. Again, this is from Jane's Agenda. Has her little logo on the back here. And I purchased 3 books to go in it. There's a multitude of books. In fact, these are currently on sale. So if this system that I'm going to show you, for the purpose that I'm using it for, works for you, be sure to head over there, and you probably want to snag one up while you can because they are going fast, but they're also on sale. So it's got a pen holder, which is nice because it's an elastic. So you could put in whatever size pen or marker or fountain pen that you want. So I like that feature. I do have in here my Friction Pilot pen. I have been obsessed with the Friction highlighters and pens lately. I love that I can erase it. While it's not a perfect erase, it does enough of the job that I'm satisfied with it. So I do like that for this purpose. So what I went ahead and did, just for a little fun, again, I've got a tan book, a pink book, and there's this other book. Each one is different. This one is graph, the tan. The pink is a dot lined or dot grid. And then this book, which I haven't done anything with, is lined. So it was listed, I think, as a list book. There's a little block over here you can check off, so if that's something you're interested in doing. And then what I did was, of course, I can't not use my stickers. So I went ahead and pulled out my Crafty Planner stickers from Live Love Posh. And I chose a few to kind of coordinate with the book, as well as my Tombos. So for these books, you'll see once I open them, I chose Tombow 243 and 910 to use inside the books. So I've got this one here, which is going to be my planner inventory log of sorts. And then I have this book, which is going to serve the purpose of kind of like, organizing my needs and wants, I guess is the best way. I think that's how I set that one up. I do have an idea for the last book. I just haven't started it yet. So let me introduce you to the two books. So this one here, again, is the inventory log. Now, I had my daughter pen this out for me. Her penmanship with the, scripting is way better than mine is. And so I just had her do a little scripting for me in both books. You may not be able to see this too well. Let me bring this up. Okay, so see, it has planner and it says logbook. And that was this marker here, the 2 or 910. It is very light. I think I may go through and like outline it with something or something. I feel like it needs a little bit more. And so this is gonna be my logbook. And again, there's stickers from the Live Love Posh. I'll introduce the books and then we'll dive into them. This is going to be my needs and wants, and this one, same thing. Added my Live Love Posh stickers. I had her pen me out. It says planner needs. It'll say and at some point wants. And see how pretty that is? Very pretty her writing is. And then like I always do, even in my planners, when I use a Tombow color, I don't want to forget which one I used. So what I do is I just put a little mark somewhere on the page, like down here's this, that I can write in the number of the Tombow marker so that I know which one I use so that I can kind of keep it uniform. So, okay, let's dive in. So it's kind of a chatty video, but I want to show you how I did it. It, can work for you. It may work for you. You can take bits or pieces. The other thing I want to mention straight up front is that while I did this in a traveler's notebook style setup, is purely because I just feel like keeping it separate from my disk system. For example, everything I'm going to show you today, you can absolutely do it in a disk system. It will work and function the exact same way. You'll have pages, you can set it up the same way. You can simplify it a little bit more. So this will carry me through, a number of years. But I only did it in here because of what I want it to be when I'm finished with it. So, something I can pull in each year and work in. Whereas sometimes with the disk setups, if you archive something, you have to have disks to put it on, create an archive. Disks take up space. So this was just purely my preference, but this absolutely can be done in a mini, it can be done in a classic, even a spiral notebook. So don't think that because of the way I've done it, it doesn't work for you. You just have to translate it into the style of planning that works for you. So I've gone ahead and painstakingly created a log of the planners that I have. Now, let me preface this with, I have listed the planners that I have that are either undated or are dated for 2025 or carry, 18 months would carry me into 2025. I do have a number of expired planners. I didn't get rid of them. I still have them, and they will end up in this book. I will probably put them in the center because it's going to be a very simple kind of layout. It's just going to be, list, 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 list. So I will likely do that in the middle. I will do it at another time. I do have far too many that I didn't want to take the time to do right now. I wanted to get this done. So here is my logbook. And here's how I structured it. Oh, it is open? Okay. They're actually kind of thick pages. So here's how I wanted to do this. There's a number of ways you can set yours up. You can do it by brand. You can do it by date. You can do it by collection, however it works for you. Because I do like a number of both disk system and traveler's notebooks and bullet journals, I just thought this was easier. So I headed mine as undated, dated. I saved a page for more dated. I'm going to make this one my notebook, so they're going to be disk notebooks. And then I have a spot for guided journals, a spot for extension packs, and recipe planners, and then also my bullet journals. And then I have a page, which I'll probably dedicate 2 pages, to my Jane's agenda. Now, when I am doing this is going to be, and maybe I'll even transfer all of hers. Instead of putting it in here, I'll do it all here, maybe. Essentially what I want to do is I want to list the things I bought, because I have on a few things duplicated a purchase. So I have a few items that I have more than one of. So I figure if I have a page that lists the things I have, then I won't make the mistake and buy them again. Because if I go to purchase, I can look through my book and then I know. So that's my thought process. Let's go back here. All right, so first up, as I said, I went through my entire craft room, pulled out all these planners, listed them. As you can see, for mostly so undated has 3 columns here. We have planner, layout, and used with a question mark. So what I did was I went through and I listed everything I have, and then the layout that it was, if it had a layout, and then if I used any of it. So for example, this one here is HP for Happy Planner. C is for classic size. Know Your Worth budget. It is a budget layout, and 10 months are unused. So I kind of did the opposite. Instead of saying what was used, I said what wasn't used. All of these, I believe, are not used, other than this one here. And sometimes I, have more undated than I need, but, it gives me that option that when I want to use it or take maybe a month from it, I can do that. So, I went through, I listed all of them. I just abbreviated the brand. MH, just in case you're wondering, is Maggie Holmes. It's a planner that came from, I picked it up at Joann's. Again, undated. Down here, I have VB for Vila Beautiful. I do have one of her planners. I believe it's undated, hence the question mark. I got to check. Okay, then we have all the dated ones. Now, again, I saved 2 pages because these are the ones that I might look at more urgently, as I need to use them because they're dated. So as you can see, some of them are, they're 12 months, but they ran, I think, in more of the school year type deal. So it has January of 24 to June of 25. So these are also, let's see, these first 2 are actually the faux leather covers that had the planners inside. So I kind of bought it for the cover, which isn't the way you should do it, but that's what I did. So I have all of these to choose from. And as you can see, there's quite a bit. Now, these are mostly classic. If it's this one here is a mini, and I think I have a skinny mini, but I do not have any big, I believe, that run into 2025. So I haven't listed them yet. If I did, bottom line is I likely will not be using that big. So I've got my data to choose from. And then again, this is not filled in. So the whole point is I'm trying to get to where I am more honed in and focused in on my planner and not having planners that for the sake of having planners. So next step I did in this process was to try and identify my needs and wants. Now, in this book, I did my next pages, which I'll show you in a minute, and then I kind of stared at them for, I don't know, 10 minutes or more, trying to figure out what I wanted to write. I just felt like I had to, write everything in the order that it should be, and that, I had this preconception about how it should be done. I finally just dove in, starting with my mini, and once I started that, everything just kind of flowed, and I spent quite a bit of time really giving this some thought and deciding on what are my needs and wants going into 2025. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to keep them for the whole 12 months. Things change. I do tend to try and do a assessment of sorts 6 months in. Is everything I'm using something I need? That kind of thing. So this is just a description or bulleted points of what worked, what didn't, what to keep, and what to get rid of, basically. So here's what I've got. So I've got my little list here. It starts with this, and I'm going to come back to that in a sec. So here's how I structured my pages. All I did was just separated them, gave myself a header. This, of course, what worked, what didn't, what to keep, what to let go. I put 2024 over here, 2025 over here. That was with this Tombow marker 243. I still pulled in some stickers for just a little bit of fun from the Live Love Posh sticker book. And so you can kind of see, I really gave it some thought. So what's work is, you can see front and center, the mini size works for me. Would that have worked 10 years ago? Maybe not, but it's working for me now. So there's no reason why I would ever want to get rid of that. So as I thought about some of these things, I always suggest start with what worked for you. If you know what worked for you, all the other things kind of fall into place. So, going into 2025, I want to keep it simple. I don't want things overly complicated. Keeping my topics separate worked for me. Will that mean a separate planner? Maybe. But these are just kind of those things that I really worked through this and thought hard. So I gave it a good go. One of the things that's worked for me is maintaining one agenda. So, I had a list. I was going to put them in here, and I'm like, I don't have time to do that. My 2024 planners were ridiculous. I had started the year off with I had extras that I barely used, which now have become outdated. And, come March, I kind of changed it up a little more. Come June, I changed it up a little more. I add in, and it seemed like I was adding in more than I was taking out. So 2024 got to be very convoluted with planners. And that's what I mean by maintaining one agenda. When I did Franken planning, that worked for me. But having all those calendars kind of didn't. I know this and I keep trying it every year. I'm a one calendar person. I can't keep multiple calendars. It just doesn't work for me. So these are all the things that worked for me. Here you go, not creating planner setups just because. That's paramount to recognizing what works for you and what doesn't. So when I took a look at what didn't work, you can kind of see, I didn't count, but you can kind of see it's almost this what worked is, almost as large as what didn't. So, and here we go. What didn't work? Well, regularly maintaining my Happy Planner creative journal planner. So as you know, I have a creative planner or creative journal, which is a happy planner. I took out all the weeks. I kept the currently and the month. And, I was struggling to pick it up every day and write something into it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the planner. Maybe it's not. We're going to address that a little later on as we get through this. And here you go, having multiple agendas for different areas. That didn't work for me. Buying planners for just one thing. I love the disk system, but disks do take up a lot of space, storage space. And I will be revamping my IKEA shelf, which is, from my craft room tour, that I had filled all the shelves with happy planners. And did I use all those? No. So again, this is kind of that creating a planner that works for your current season of life. So, all that worked, again, maybe 10 years ago, but now it's not working. Having all those things that I'm not using, that maybe I only bought for the cover or for the discs or whatever, I'm going to cautiously say those days are done. So, cutting and pasting pages, while yes, you can customize your own planner that way, it creates bulk. I tend to like to keep planners that I've completed together so that when I need to maybe look something up, I basically can go back to that and reference that information. So, when you talk about that, you need storage space for that. Too many agendas meant less time to create. As you know, I am creating a beautiful life, and I'm hoping you are as well. But to do that, I need to address other areas in my life, in my business, in what I do on a day-to-day basis. And having all those planners wasn't giving me the time to do that. What didn't work? FOMO. We all have it. We got to get rid of it. I got to stop it. And I think closing 2024 out, I'm definitely going through that no FOMO zone. Let's call it that. Big memory keeping, that didn't work for me. Collecting planners, some of these things have this similar concept, but I was just right. I was just brain dumping. Keeping and holding on to planners I know I won't be using, that kind of thing. So I then said, what do I want to keep? Well, first and foremost, my mini setup. Absolutely, I'm keeping this. I will be tweaking this to suit my needs throughout the months. It will not be a major changeover. So every month I'll change my cover. And of course, I get the kit currently, the deluxe subscription kit. So that will go in there. But the guts of it will be tweaked as I need them. I set up a business reference notebook. And that's kind of worked. So that is a classic size. It basically took all the things that were in my classic planner that I didn't want to recopy into mini. It put it into that notebook. So I can reference that. Again, it's a reference notebook. It works. A personal development notebook works. That is currently housing my Master Plan 365 course from Jane's Agenda. And again, I will always have that to be able to reference back to. I started keeping a separate blog content notebook. And as you know, I do YouTube, but I also do my blog. And, the information can be different, and how you produce information for a blog is way different than YouTube. So I was getting lost. What did I last do? What was that blog post I was working on? What were my thoughts? So I created a separate blog content notebook so that when I need to, when I'm going to work on my blog, I can pull that out, work on my blog, without being distracted by all the shiny things in my planner. I can focus in on the blog and do what I need to. So if my planner tells me to work on the blog that day, I can pull out my content notebook, work on the blog. So as you can tell, a lot of notebook setups. Notebooks work for me because I can customize them however I want. And I don't have that added pressure of, my gosh, it's another calendar. I should use the tab because it's, pretty, or because I have it, or whatever. Now I got to use the calendar, and then it gets, kind of gets back over here. I have too many agendas. I'm not maintaining them. So notebooks work for me. Let's see. Okay, so memories worked, but not in the disk system. I think something's going to be changing there. Starting my day with opening my planner worked. Okay, what to let go? Let's move on, because I do have something I want to create today. Multiple agendas, as I said, making a concept more complicated than it needs to be. So, when I have a concept, so let's say, putting a section in my main planner for the blog content. I made it overly complicated and I kept throwing papers in there and I kept bulking it up. And then it became the section I never went to. So, having a separate book works. So again, what to let go of? FOMO. Let go of it, people. All dated and undated, unused, whatever planners. Buying planner stickers, I don't have the space for. I love the planner stickers. I love, throwing in stickers here and there. But my shelves are full. I had a designated space for stickers and they're full. So yeah, I need to get rid of some of my books. That led to this. So in the beginning, when I said this is my first step, it actually was sort of my mid-step. I decided to then sit down, because the last step in this process, you've taken a log of what you have, you've identified what worked, what didn't. The next step is to decide, what are your planner priorities? What do you want to track? How do you want to have your planner function for you? What are the areas you want to cover? So I had identified, I'm just going to kind of stick this back in here. I had identified, that I need and want a business work planner or something to track, projects and creativity, social media, goals, absolutely, memories, self-care, and journaling. So these are the things that matter to me that I want to, get into my planner system. So with that information now, and as you can see, there's no other pages. With this information and all this, we're now going to move to my planner and we're going to see how well this goes. I'm going to try and shuffle things around. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that there. We'll see. So now I need to go to my planner. Now again, this step is now going to be identifying what planners I plan to use going into 2025. Now it's a tentative plan. Anything can change from now to the end of December. But based on this information that I have worked out, I have come across the things that I think I'll be using. So that's what I'm going to do in here. I am going to go to my notes and let's see. Let's get there. I am going to go to, okay. So I've shown this before when I created a 2024 planner lineup. And so I do intend to do the same thing for 2025. So I've got my Planner Babe paper here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I am going to, let's see, let me just take a quick peek at this. Okay, so I broke it out by header. Okay. So let's go ahead and I can get this out of the way for the moment while I work on that. And this is going to be my tentative list. The other thing I can suggest for you to do is, as you try and identify what is going to be your planner, go back to your, I'm just going to move a few things here so I can maybe push this up. Okay. Go back to the planners you chose at the beginning of the year. And if for some reason you're noticing a pattern of what's not working or what you failed at using, be aware of that as you go into your next year, 2025, as you decide on what planner you're going to use. That's going to help you out tremendously to not grab a planner you know you're not going to use. So let's get a header on here. Okay. I'm going to give it a sec to dry. I am going to use this brush pen, and I'll hold off on the stickers for now. So here's how I'm going to do this. Well, I'll show you. I'll try and remember to show you after. I had a number of planner fails in 2024, so I'm looking to not repeat that in 2025. So here's how I'm going to break it out. So I need to kind of address all these areas and get them on here in a way that makes sense. So let me start out with my very first one. Since I don't have a lot of room, let me start right at the top. All right, so let's see. Here's my pen. Kind of got stuck in there. All right, so this is going to be my memory keeping. What's changing with my memory keeping? I am going to give it a try and use, I had bought a brand new Archer and Olive bullet journal. I am going to share all the planners that I'll be using in the coming weeks. So I'm just going to kind of tell you right now what it is, and then I'll show them to you later on. So let's see. This is going to be I don't remember the name of it. I was trying to remember the name and I don't remember the name. So I found that for whatever reason, when I use the friction pens over the friction highlighters, it doesn't always capture the ink from the pen. So I'm using my Micron. Okay, so for memories, I am using, or will be planning to use, the Archer and Olive. It is a 5x8 or 8x8. It's a square, so if it's square, it's got to be an 8x8. I just feel like doing the memories, and that is going to be more creative for me. Again, everyone's brain works differently, so that's my plan right now. So then that takes care of memories. And okay, I'm looking at my stack of planners. I had to make sure I had right which one I was using. Okay, so for self-care, so if you notice, I'm kind of starting out with the more non-family or business related topics. And that's because I want to put more of a focus. I mean, I'm going to keep focused on business, but I want to put more of a focus on those topics. So this is going to be self-care. And for that, I'm going to be using my Happy Planner bullet journal. Which one exactly, I don't know. But again, I'll share with you. Okay, so that takes care of self-care. Now, journaling is going to be So when I say journaling, I mean, I don't necessarily journal. It's a mashup of journaling and memory keeping and, brain dump almost. So, but I call it journaling because I do it in a journaling fashion. So this is going to be, okay, so this is, let's see, this, I'm gonna label this before I lose it, journaling. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then I got this one. Okay, and this is just the process you go through to try and really hone in on what you want to use. So let's see, next, I think I'm going to add, so I'm going to put a slash on here. So when I say self-care, I'm also going to add into that reading. Because as you know, I do have a separate reading journal. So let's see, I've got that covered. Okay, so let me go to my, okay, I'm going to say right up front here, the social media, I keep going back and forth on. I don't know if I have that exactly figured out. Let me do this. Okay. So, oh. So this is going to be business. Now my business, I'm going to list a Happy Planner Classic. I bought this planner intending to take it into 2025, using it as the planner. But then the mini came into the picture. So I am going to still use that. I'm just going to modify it slightly. More importantly, I'll probably take out the agenda portion of it. But for now, that's going to be, so when I say business and work, it's sort of that business notebook I talked about up here, or business/blog content, let's say. So let's do that. Let's say, okay, so I just listed that one as business and blog. Okay. Oh, and then this one down here is personal development. So when I look at this, lineup idea, it's not necessarily saying that this is the planner and how I'm setting it up. I'm covering all the different areas and putting them into the selection that I had made. So this one was already set up, personal development, which is going to be the Jane's Agenda. I'll call it 365 notebook. Just because it is holding that currently. So let me go ahead and get this. I must not be erasing it on the right spot. It works, I'm just not getting it in the right spot. So let's see, that kind of ties in with goals in a way. That actually falls under kind of projects, creativity. I need to add that. So it kind of becomes like a reference notebook. Okay. I just want to list that separately because it is a very specific book. While it isn't a planner, I need to work out what I'm going to be doing in 2025. We are getting down to the gun on time, and I need to do this. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do here is, so the problem with the project's creativity, I can track it as a section in my planner, but sometimes I pull in other aspects. So that one's kind of hard. How do I want to put that? Okay, so the only one I'm going to leave up in the air is social media. That one's going to go here. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one in the air. And then what I'm going to do, okay. This one, this is going to be like, I'm going to call it my catch-all, which is this. My mini is my catch-all. And in here, I'm going to take care of putting in, I'm going to have a tab for projects. Of course, the agenda. As you know, there are a number of tabs. You've already seen them. But when I look at this and I think of my planner, this is kind of how I'm listing everything. So, and then goals. Okay, so I kind of in this one did it a little backward. So most of them I said what one I was going to use. For my catch-all mini, I wrote what kind of tabs and the topics I wanted to put in it. So that is taking care of projects and goals. And of course, it'll have some business information in it. And then the only thing left is social media. I'm working on that. I have a concept idea, but I don't think it's going to be a separate planner. Again, we'll see. I'll have to talk about that more later. So for now, I've got a tentative list of what planners I'm going to bring into 2025 based on the exercise of finding what works, what doesn't. Okay, so I think there was a problem with my video, so I'm going to try and finish this up. Since it is quite chatty, it is a Friday, I'm filming this out, so yeah, apparently it's a day to chit chat. So I've got at least a tentative list of what I'm going to use for what function. And, I kind of made up some of my tabs along the way as well. So will I put more into the mix? I don't think so. I do have other planners that I may take bits and pieces out of. But going into 2025, this is going to be the planner. It's going to be my everything. I will be incorporating bullet journals, a traveler's notebook, Happy Planner Classic, Jane's Agenda Classic notebook that I put together. This is yet to be determined. And then a mini, which is going to house things such as my agenda, projects, goals, and anything else I need it to hold for me. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think I got it all. Okay, so just to summarize, so in 2024, I have off to the side here a piece of paper. Let me look at my list. Let's see. Okay, so at quick count, in 2024, it looks like I brought in 14 different planners, of which, maybe half of those were actual successes, which means the other half were fails. And sometimes you have to go through that process just to figure that out. But going into 2025, I'm just going to be, my main focus is going to be my mini. And I'm going to make this work for me. I've already made it work, and I'm just going to keep tweaking it. So here is my layout. I will be going through, I will be talking, depending on the video schedule with it being December, so many days with holidays and so forth. There may be one more video where I go through each of these planners, but they'll kind of be very little setup. So, but those will still come. I do have a lot of stuff on this coming up. I'm telling you, this is it. This is my jam right now. So here's my lineup. This was my process. I hope in some way this has helped you see, how I go through this process, how maybe you want to go through this process. Maybe you can take parts of it. Maybe it'll work for you. Bottom line is, if you love to plan, you should be doing one of these assessments at the end of every year for sure, because you will likely find that you're incorporating or using planners that are not totally being used to their full potential. So I know I'm not alone out there. So drop me a comment and tell me how many of the planners you brought in during 2025 or 2024. Look at me, I'm already next year. How many planners did you bring in 24? And then how many of them were successes? How many were fails? So drop me a comment. Make me feel that I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. So, give me that little boost of confidence that I'm not alone. Drop me a comment. I'd love to see and hear what your successes and fails were in 2025. And give me a hint as to what you're going to go into in 25. So that is it for today's video. It is very long. If you can get through it, I promise you this process works. And if nothing else comes of it, other than you recognize even one thing in your current planning process, then it was well worth it. So I'll stop talking and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification. And there really aren't many supplies I can link below, but as you know, anything I can link, you'll find in the description box below. And I hope you have a wonderful day as you create a beautiful life, one plan at a time. Thank you for watching.